So welcome, guys. Welcome to the MS and Taxation info session here at Golden Gate University. My name is Luke Cowan. I'm a recruitment and admissions advisor here. And this is Rocco, our executive director, if you would like to introduce yourself.
Thank you. I really appreciate everybody joining. My name is Rocco Lamana. I've been with Golden Gate University for 10 years. 10 years next week, actually. And I'm the executive director of the Braden School of Taxation and the School of Accounting. I'm also the associate vice provost. So I wear many hats, but I'm most proud of working with the tax faculty and working with students in the tax and accounting programs. It's a great experience and I enjoy it. Thank you. We're going to do some housekeeping rules just real quickly, before we get started. Sorry. Lots of time to ask questions at the end. If you have some questions, feel free to jot it down. We'll have an opportunity to do that at the end of this presentation. You can also pop them into the chat, but we'll address those at the end as well. Take it away, Luke.
So GGU have been serving students since 1901. We are located in downtown San Francisco. We were one of the first universities to offer flexible online programs tailored toward working adults. Our network is with 70,000 plus alumni and professionals. And we have courses taught by professionals who are leaders in the Bay Area. And of course, you can learn both theory and practice that you can apply in the real world. Now I'll pass this on to you, Rocco.
Thank you. So GGU is coming up on like 125 years here shortly. So we were founded in 1901, as Luke has mentioned. We are a private nonprofit university. We're nestled in the heart of San Francisco in the financial district. We are WASC accredited, and actually we're just finishing up our reaffirmation visit, which is really exciting. The nice kind of uniqueness of GGU is that we're focusing on preparing professionals like everybody here for advancing in their careers, expanding their knowledge, whatever that career aspiration is for you. And that's what GGU is founded on and continues to focus on. Our classes are small and personalized with instruction. We use a lot of adjunct faculty as subject matter experts, as professionals coming in and talking about whatever the subject is. Because we're a professional university in the scope of educating adult learners, the average student age is 30. We don't have a incoming freshman from high school type of experience. That's not GGU. It's never been. We offer classes 3 times a year, meaning we have 3 terms. We're a trimester school. So fall is coming up, which Luke will talk about in just a few moments. And then we have spring, which starts in January. And then we have our summer term, which starts in May. They're about 3 15-week semester terms. So you can take classes during any of those terms. And because you're working adults, you may not take a class in one term because of your workload or other personal obligations that are going to keep you from being successful in school or taking those courses. Go ahead and go to the next. So the MST is the Master's of Science in Taxation. It's a 30-unit degree. There are no requirements to enter outside the admissions, meaning you don't have to have accounting as a background. It's always good to have a financial accounting background or a course, but it's not mandatory. So it's 30 units. So 21 of those are required courses. And then there's 9 units of electives that you get to choose from. And you have a variety of different areas to choose from. We have some classes in international taxation. We have some classes in state and local tax, estate planning. Those are kind of the 3 big areas, but there's other courses that will be offered. We don't offer all of the electives at every term. We rotate them. So if an elective is offered in one term, it may not be offered for another year until that term comes back up. You have an option to attend via asynchronous online, which means there's no meeting time, no class date and meeting. It's not self-taught. So I always get people like, well, is it self-taught? No, there's recorded lectures or there's written lectures or there's some form of lecture instruction. And then there's a bunch of activities and things that you'll have to complete. We also have a hybrid type model, which is our web conferencing. which means that the courses are offered via Zoom, kind of like what we're doing today. And there is a scheduled meeting date and time. So um, the hybrid model that's here written here, we currently don't offer any of the tax program. They're all Zoom based or asynchronous because we have a lot of students from other countries where coming to campus just wouldn't be feasible. So yeah, so we do primarily Zoom and asynchronous. There's no GMAT or GRE. You can complete the degree in about 2 years if you choose to, but some students choose to take it a little bit slower. So it's really based on how fast do you want to move through the program, and it's just kind of to your pace. Early deadline is July 13th, which is next week. So that, or actually Sunday. So that's probably right about around the corner. You may not be able to complete an application if you haven't already started, but go ahead and get it started. You have until August 17th, which is our final deadline, because we want to make sure that we review and make a decision on your application and get you ready for September 7th fall start. So here's kind of a layout of the courses and how you take them. The foundation courses are those courses that kind of build the layers before you kind of climb up the advanced courses. These are courses that really build the structure around research and writing, federal tax procedures, and advanced income and taxation subject areas. And one of the things I want to make sure, and it was kind of introduced in the last slide, and I didn't really talk about it, is that this is a law-based program, and that's really key here. We don't really use textbooks in the traditional sense that most of you may have experienced. We go back to the primary source, which is either a case law or in a lot of situations, it's the tax codes or regulations. So those are the primary sources that you'll use. You'll have access to databases like we are currently just adopting BlueJ. If you're in the industry and you've never heard of BlueJ, it is a brand new database, a tax database that's kind of in the marketplace that uses AI. You'll have an opportunity in a couple of classes to use that and learn how to use it. But you'll have all of the resources built into your program. There are a few courses that do have some books, but very few. So just keep that in mind. It's not the traditional college experience where you have to buy textbooks for every class. So the foundation courses is where you start. Those are the 9 courses, and we ask that you take those first. And you can work with your academic advisors to figure out, well, like, what is the best pattern of courses, because some of the more advanced ones, when you get into tax operating rules and tax entities, they have prerequisites, which are those foundation courses that you see below at the very bottom. So then you have 12 units of these more advanced operating rules and tax entities, and those get into property transactions, tax timing, corporate tax, and partnership. These are really advanced courses. I will say, out of those 4, tax timing, I get the most feedback from students that they learned the most from that course. Not to say you won't learn in the other courses, but that is kind of like the aha moment where the timing of tax comes into play. But then the other more difficult ones, just to keep that tucked in the back of your mind, are partnerships and corporations, because it really gets into very detailed analysis of how partnerships are formed, how corporations are formed, types of different corporations, and so forth. And then the 9 units of electives are kind of what I just mentioned earlier. You get to choose from a variety of different topics that are offered randomly every term, or in kind of a schedule every term. So we offer several, probably 3 to 4 different electives every term. Go to the next. Okay, so what is the difference? GGU and the tax school has been around for a lot of years. We have a lot of alumni, so we get a lot of information and feedback, and we build a lot of relationships through our alumni who are working in the industry. They recruit from us. They come back. They've all had great experiences from taking our program and how much it's advanced them. So we have a definite reputation across the world. Actually, we have a lot of international students who have taken our program and then bring it back to their home country as a way of understanding how U.S. tax codes, maybe they do cross-border transactions, or they work for a large accounting firm in their community, like Deloitte or something, and so they do a lot of business with the U.S. So this really prepares them for that advanced experience in their careers. A lot of our students get great jobs. There's one of the things you can always count on is there's going to be a space for somebody in tax. We have recruitment events that come up. I'll talk a little bit about those in just a few moments. But we have a lot of alumni who work for these firms come back and recruit from us. The instruction, all of our full-time faculty in the tax school are JD student or lawyers, past lawyers, or former attorneys in tax. And then we have a lot of adjuncts that we source for subject areas who also have equal credentials, whether they're CPAs or tax attorneys. We have really well brought or well-rounded faculty to teach our courses. And many of our adjuncts have been teaching with us for for a lot of years, like at least 10 in some cases. We don't often hire new faculty because we always have a bench. Go ahead and go to the next. So some highlights, nationally ranked, which is a great kind of badge for us. We like to know how well we do among other tax programs. So you can see in 2024, best taxation master's degree, best online. But I think the most important feedback, and maybe why you're here today, is that you probably heard about our program through somebody you work with, who's gone through our program or has heard about our program. Maybe it's a family member or a professional colleague. They are our biggest promoters. You get the hands-on real-world training, which is key, because it's not about just reading a textbook, like I mentioned earlier. We don't use that many of them. Going back to the primary source, and then how do you apply them? So you're going to have a lot of activity or a lot of opportunities to solve real life case problems using the knowledge you've extracted in that course. You're going to enhance your knowledge and skills in a variety of different areas. I kind of touched on this, not only in corporate and partnerships, but you can look at estate and gift taxes, one of the electives. We have a multi-state taxation course, international tax law. There's another elective. And I will say the international tax law is really a popular class because there's so much movement in that. And now with the new tax laws that are coming into place, we're actually our point faculty member for international tax is currently working on updating that to reflect the new laws that are coming into play here shortly. And then career boosting flexibility. I go back to how do you take our courses? We know that you're busy, you're working, you have family, you have other obligations outside of school. So we try to adopt our classes to meet your needs as best as possible. So we do have the web conferencing classes. We also have your asynchronous classes. So you may choose between the two. We really want to try to meet you where you're at as much as we can. Go ahead. Student support and career opportunities. We do a lot of engagement with local partners in the industry, and they come to our campus and they do events. We are, I don't have the dates in front of me, but I know that we just finished up a local tax group that was on campus, and they do some webinars and they host our students for free because they use our campus. So they do a kind of a duo webinar joined by Zoom for some people in their groups, and they also have the in-person opportunities. So in those cases, when we host these types of events for these tax professional organizations, they provide opportunities for our students to join, and I think that's great. TEI, which is Tax Executive Institute, is one of our strongest partners that has been around for so many years, longer than I've been at GGU. And we are just now joining, they have an international tax event in August. I can't remember the exact dates. I think it's the middle of August in Montreal. And GGU has a 4 student-led team that's going to be competing in Montreal. So we're really excited for that. It's the first time that we've done this. and it's going to be really good. Uh, then we also do in other industry workshops. We're going to be doing a career event. We are actually preparing that now with our career services. It is our annual recruitment event that we do with our partners, employer partners who recruit from us. Last year, I think we had around 20 plus employers recruiting us. We've been doing it remotely. We're trying to see if we can uh, do a quasi remote and in-person event. So if you live close or happen to be in the Bay Area, you might be able to attend in person when we have that. If not, there should be the remote option. So we haven't worked all the details, but we've heard from our partners, employer partners, that they'd like to come to campus and recruit, kind of showcasing that they're moving back to a little bit to more of the traditional recruiting methods they had prior to COVID. But up until then, they've primarily been working remote or recruiting remote. So, and we also have clubs, and then we also do tax tutoring. I should mention those. We have tax tutors. If you ever have a question, they're available to take you, via Zoom at pretty much any time that they're operational. They have a schedule, so you can just click on the link during their hours and get assistance as needed. I always recommend that you go to your professors first. They're usually your best tutor when you're struggling with understanding the concept or have questions. That's the best way to get started. But if you need additional support, you have the tax tutors. Now you can move forward, Luke. Sorry.
No worries. Thank you, Rocco. So the admissions requirement, it does require a bachelor's degree from a regionally accredited U.S. Institution or its equivalent, of course. The grade point average is a GPA of 3.0 or higher is typically required. We look for evidence of your ability to succeed to the graduate level, including your academic preparation and professional experience. The skills for success are your strong quantitative writing and computing skills are important for thriving in the competitive dynamic learning environment. And for the professional capabilities, that just requires a resume whenever you submit your application, along with a statement of purpose. And the statement of purpose is just a brief page explaining why you are interested in this specific program for the taxation program. And for financial aid, we have our FAFSA code at the bottom right. That is 001205 for the GGU FAFSA code. And to learn more about financial aid, we of course have the ggu.edu link towards the bottom as well. And for next steps, so yeah, like Rocco mentioned, our early deadline is July 13th, Sunday. The final deadline, or excuse me, final deadline is August 17th. So if you are interested, I would go ahead and start that application today or as soon as possible, really. And then once that is received, me or another team member will reach out to go over all documents needed, such as that resume, statement of purpose, official transcripts. And I do recommend you do this in one sitting. You're not able to return back to the application. So just make sure you set time to just complete the application. In full typically takes around 30 minutes or so. And if you are interested, I have the link at the bottom, ggu.edu/apply. And this is for the Q&A. If you have any questions, feel free to drop it in the chat or let us know.
We do have some questions in the chat. I'm going to answer those first.
Okay.
And what subjects you have? What subjects do you have on elective? So they're generally international tax, estate planning. We have another advanced corporate tax course. State and local tax. Those are kind of the general theme areas. There's a few others that are standout that don't really that fall within those categories. Like there's an accounting for tax course in there. I'm trying to remember everything off the top of my head. But yeah, so there's a variety of topics. You can go to our website at ggu.edu and you can look at the course offerings under the tax program. You'll get an idea of the types of courses that weren't already listed in this presentation, like the required courses that you are expected to take. So yeah, how do your hybrid classes work? How often do you have to come? So I mentioned this a little bit quickly earlier. For the tax program, we are not offering hybrid classes where you would come to campus. Your course offer or your modality options are either asynchronous, which is online, and or web conferencing, which is using Zoom. Web conferencing doesn't have an in-person requirement like coming to campus. It just means that you have a scheduled meeting date and time, like coming to campus, except you're joining via Zoom. Let me go back and see. Is there an extra cost for Access Tax Tutors? No, it's free. Can you take a class with actually signing up for the actual full program? Yes, you can. It's called open enrollment. And if you want to reach out to Luke, he can probably walk you through what that means and give you more details about that. So yes, that is an
Mhm.
option. You are limited up to 9 units or 3 classes before having to matriculate to a degree. I submitted an application during the weekend, and when it came to the last day of the application, the click submit popped up. Does that mean that? Okay. I'll have Luke look at that for you. Tiffany Z, if you can send Luke a message about your full name so that he can look and see, or have somebody on the team look. We have been running into a issue where the applications are, when you hit submit as an example, it's either spinning and it's not going, or it just takes you back to the application page. So we're trying to figure out what's going on and correct those problems. It may be that somebody needs to jump on and kind of work through it with you, but I'll let Luke take care of that. If you can just chat with him your full name.
Yeah, and also if you would, you could email to info@ggu.edu.
So
We'd be
better yet.
happy to help with that as well.
Is there any programs, sort of program accumulation project, like a dissertation or something? No, there's not. Each class will have its own separate program or project, excuse me, or exam or something like that to assess your learning. How much time should you spend per unit? So the U.S. Department of Education has a kind of a formula. In general, for every 3 unit class, we expect that you're going to do about 15 to 20 hours of work additionally outside. Now that changes for every class, meaning some weeks you might have less work than you have in other weeks. So it's about maybe 15 hours you should allocate to each 3 unit class approximately for outside reading, assignments, research, things like that you might be doing. Let's see here. Are there dedicated academic advisors? Yes. You will be working with people who help you with your classes and getting you scheduled for your first term. Yeah, and you'll want to work around your work schedule, and that changes, every term. So working with your academic advisor, when you first come on, you'll be assigned a success coach. And they'll help you get started for your first term. And then after that, you'll have an academic advisor. Asynchronous means that you'll have weekly deadlines. Yes, you'll have projects and assignments to complete each week. And there will be deadlines determined by the professor. It changes. We're a semester school, so which means every course is offered in a 15-week, with an exception of one of the foundation courses, which is TA 329A and 329B. A is 5 weeks and the B is 10 weeks. They're not offered, you don't take them concurrently, you're taking them at different times. But everything else runs on a 15-week schedule for the most part, except for those 2 classes I talked about. And sometimes we'll offer classes in our 7.5-week terms. So there's the A term, which is 15, and each A term has a B and a C term, which are 7.5 weeks. Sometimes we'll offer a 7.5-week course, but yeah, it depends on the professor, the course. Some courses don't work in a 7.5 week because there's so much material to cover, and it just becomes overwhelming. So we want to make sure that it's paced appropriately. But some classes will work great in the 7.5-week model. Let me go back to where did I? Yes, there we go. We don't offer discounts for CPA or NAEA. Yeah, I don't believe we do. However, I would recommend that you reach out to financial aid at some point to see what about scholarships. You'll get information actually about scholarships if you're starting for the fall. But if you want to find out, you can schedule a meeting with financial aid to just discuss like what other discount options or scholarship or grants that you might qualify for. But one of the things you should do first is complete a FAFSA because it'll be hard for them to kind of give you full information about what's available to you financially without not understanding your income and all that. Scholarships have different criteria, so that's more of a general conversation, and you can find the information on our website in the tuitions and fees pages. I believe is where some of that would be found. The estate planning certificate. Those courses are offered. They're not offered all the time. So I'm not, off the top of my head, I can't remember when those classes are going to be offered, but you'll have to just kind of look at the schedule. Your academic advisor can probably help you map that out. I don't have a master schedule in front of me to remember all that off the top of my head. What is the difference between tax LLM and MS and tax? So tax is tax is tax, right? It's a law-based program. The LLM is for JD students, for students who have already earned a JD. The LLM in taxation is the same courses as the MS in taxation. In other words, you're taking the courses because there's there's not a difference in tax law, right? You're learning it from the MS taxation, or you're learning it from an LLM. But in order to be qualified for an LLM in taxation, you have to have a Juris Doctorate. That's essentially the difference. How you apply it in your career will be different. A tax attorney is going for a different career path than somebody in the graduate tax program, but the tax knowledge doesn't change whether you're doing an LM or not. So it's the same. Oops, 1 second. I just. Um, what are the additional certificates? So if you go to our website, you can see when our certificates are. We have the international, or sorry, we have the estate planning tax right now, and then we have the certificate in taxation. Those are the only two off the top of my head that we offer. And the advanced tax certificate. The advanced tax certificate requires the completion of the MST first, and then you can take the advanced tax. But those are the only three certificates. You can read about them on our website also. Full-time students have to take a minimum of 6 units. All of our classes are based on 3 units, with the exception of TA 329, which is a 1 unit class, and then 329A is a 1 unit class. 329B is a 2 unit class. You don't take them at the same time or concurrently. You will take them at different times throughout your program, but everything is based on a 3 unit model. In the time in a week in election, is the time in week in election, or is it depends on? I'm not sure, Maravia, if I understand that question. If you want to explain that, is the time in week in election, or it depends on the class? Uh, so the courses are already scheduled either in the 7.5 weeks or the 15 weeks per class. So you don't get to choose. If a class is offered only in the 7.5 week and you wanted to take that course, then you would have to take it in the 7.5 week. But no, you don't get to choose whether it's that or in a different format. So we schedule it ahead. You have your hand raised, Maravia. If I mispronounce your name, I apologize. Did you have another question? You can unmute if you had other questions. Um, I know we're at the end of this webinar. It's 30 minutes, but so go to the tuition and fees page. You'll find all of the costs associated with the tax program for the courses. When will they be informed if they have been accepted into the program? And I think somebody asked something about the acceptance rate. Okay, yeah, I think I missed that in the initial, so I apologize. I don't have the percentage of acceptance rate. What we do look at is what are you bringing to the program? Why are you choosing the MST? Many of our students come because they are in the tax profession or they're seeking to be in the tax profession. They're doing a career change and they're looking to do this program to promote them into the whatever career path they're seeking. So I would say that if you have a 3.0 minimum GPA and your goals are aligned with what the tax program is going to prepare you for, the admissions is very likely in your favor because those are the things we look for. We want, and because we really understand, right? You're not, this isn't, we're not a traditional standard university where you have, my son's going through this right now, right? Applying to all these universities and waiting for the admissions, and they have different criteria that they look for and so forth. We have different criteria, but um, we're looking for adult learners, which is a very unique niche, right? It's not like they're coming from high school. So we're looking for the adult learners, and how do they demonstrate or how do they share with us what they will be doing with this degree and how will it help them in their career journey or their trajectory. So that's kind of what we look for. GPA is one criteria, but if you don't have a 3.0 GPA, you can still apply. We'll take it under consideration, but we might come back and ask you for additional information or questions. Okay, let's see here. Well, second trade. How important is that certificate? Griffiths? I'm not too sure I understand how important is that certificate. I think it's more important to have the degree, but I'm not sure. It depends on your career goal or if I'm understanding the question. Yeah, certificates are optional. You're not if you don't want if you want to have a certificate in a specialized area like estate planning, which means something to you and it helps you further expand your knowledge, then yes, you don't have to do it right away. You can start with the MST, but if you do the estate planning certificate as an example, you'll see that the courses require that you have completed some prerequisites, which are some of those foundation courses that I previously showed you in the slide deck. So in some ways, you have to take, you can't just jump into the estate planning certificate unless you've gotten those courses, satisfied previously. So it may be a better idea to go ahead and do the MST, and then maybe come back and do the estate planning certificate. You can also, as your electives, take those estate planning courses as they come up on the schedule. And then if you decide you want to do the certificate, you can use some of those courses to satisfy the requirements for the certificate. So it's kind of a win-win situation. Unfortunately, folks, I have to jump off. I've got to go to another meeting. So I apologize. But if you have other questions, and surely you will, happy to respond to them. You can email me directly. Oops. At, well, can you go
Oh,
back to the
sorry.
slide?
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. There's my email address. You'll get the slide deck, by the way. So you can email me later. If you didn't write it down, that's fine. So there's a way of getting a hold of me. But I unfortunately have to jump off. I apologize. I hope you all have a great rest of your day and rest of your week and summer, whatever that is for you. And thank you so much for joining.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.